welcome back to my channel. Well, last time we were gisting, I was talking about school and some other stuff, so I got interrupted by a call, and after that my kids came home and like the house was just rowdy, so I couldn't finish up the video. So I'm going to finish it up next. Wow, it's 1 month since we came to Canada. 1 whole month. It's been roller coaster events and all that, and I'm going to be dishing it out, like telling you everything and how we're settling in and everything. Well, if this is your first time of stumbling on my channel, my name is Tasa Ojiogu and I'm a new immigrant to Canada, and I came in with my husband and my 4 kids. So I'm dishing it out just how you want, like I'm giving you all the details. If this is your first time, like I said, and you want to hear it just like this, undiluted, just like I'm going to tell you everything, how it's going, the good, the bad, the ugly, how it's going. Well, I think it's time for you to subscribe to this channel. Just click on the subscribe button, and to all those who have subscribed, thank you so much. Like, the family is growing and I'm so happy. Yeah, so please don't forget to click the bell also. Even if you've subscribed, please click the bell too. It just helps to tell you or give you an alert when I release a new video, you know. So today I'm going to be gisting you a whole lot. I'm going to finish the gist of the last video, so if you've not watched the last video, please do well to go back and watch it. Then as I'm going to complete the gist about the school, and then I'm going to maybe answer some 1 or 2 questions that I got on the comments in the other video. And then today I'm going to be talking about healthcare. Yeah, so I've registered my kids for healthcare and who have visited the hospitals. I'm going to tell you how it is. Like, it's absolutely different from what happens in Nigeria. So I'm going to be gisting you what happens and how to access healthcare. And what else again? That means I'm going to gist, okay, housing. Yeah, I'm going to be gisting you of housing. I'm going to be gisting you how we got a car. I think somebody asked me how we got a car and all that. So I'm going to be putting all this in the video, right? So just in case I can't finish it, you know, sometimes I get interrupted, but if I don't finish it, I'll finish it in the next video. Meanwhile, thank you for staying tuned. I'm so happy that the families. And before I even forget, big gist, I started my business. So I started my business like 2 weeks into coming to Canada, and I made my first 1,000 card. Yeah. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm going to be gisting you everything, how I registered my business and all that, like step-by-step process. So if there's any other thing you want me to talk about, right, you can just put it in the comment section, yeah, or send me an email, whatever. I'll do well to answer it, and if I can't, I'll definitely point you in a direction to someone who can answer your questions, right? So this is me, Tasa, giving you gist on how I'm settling down as a new immigrant in Canada. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so back to the gist of last video, that's completing the last gist. So I was talking about how the schools are different. Like, there's the English immersion and there's the French immersion. English immersion, like I said, is like the normal English school, like they speak English all through, teach children in English, and then they take French as a subject. While the French immersion is French, like 80% French and 20% English. So usually the children that are eligible for French immersion are children that are between the ages of 4 and 6. That's 6 is when you go to elementary 1, that's like year 1, like primary 1 in Nigeria. So any child that has done primary 1 going to 2 is no longer eligible. So the last class that anybody can join the French immersion is before 6. So if you have a child coming in, you're coming with your child and you want to put them in schools, it's important for you to ask, yeah, if there's French immersion or English immersion. So the Catholic schools have French immersion, and they have English. The government school has French, has English, so it depends on what you want. But I mean, if you have the opportunity, right, to put your children in French immersion, it's important. It's good. It's gives the child an edge. Like the child will be able to still read in English and read in French. You get. So I mean, you speak English at home. You speak English every other place. So the child will be able to like speak English and read. And if you can read French, you can definitely read English. So if you have a child coming in and your child is less than 6, it's important, if you want the child to be in French immersion, it's important that you ask before you register the child. So this one I'm even talking like this. So I have a 6-year-old and I want to put him in French immersion, but I didn't get this information before I registered him and the others in the school. So when I went to the Catholic school board, they just gave us the school after presenting my marriage certificate and other stuff that ties me to the Catholic Church. They gave us a school, they appointed a school to us, right? So it was when I was now gisting with some of my other friends and I started hearing French immersion. I'm like, what are you saying? Before they now gisted me and told me that their children have the opportunity to either do French or this. And then I found out that it's only my son that is 6 and then my toddler that will be able to do the French immersion. The other children, I'll have to either do extra classes for French for them or summer school, or just find other ways to infuse French into their everyday studies. But right now what I'm doing, or what I'm planning to do, is to put my 6-year-old in the French immersion. So we called the school board, that's the St. John's school board, and then we inquired, and then we got to find out that they are on break for now till August 28th. So we have to wait till then. Meanwhile, we have held the one they gave us first just in case. So we're waiting for that 28th when they'll be back, when they resume. That's the staff resume, so we can see if we can get a placement in any of the French schools. So that's that for school gist. Okay, someone asked me if they actually provide lunch for the children. That's also a question I plan to ask them when I call them to get the French immersion for my son. So hopefully I get that information and I'll pass it on. What else about school? I think that's all basically about schooling. Schooling is pretty. Someone asked what the difference between the government school and the Catholic schools are. Okay, so now when it comes to academics and all that, from all that I've gathered, there is no difference between the government school and the Catholic schools. The only difference is that the Catholic school is run based on certain Christian values, while the government school, anything goes, like different people from different background, from different religion and all that, you get. So it all depends on what your family wants to achieve, like the values you want to instill in your kids, you get. So we as Christians now, we want some Christian values on our children, right? So that was a major reason why we chose a Catholic school, not because the Catholic school does better when it comes to academics or not. No, I didn't say that. So the major reason why we are going for the Catholic school is because we want those Christian values in our kids, right? So that at least they can help us re-emphasize what we are saying at home. That's it. Okay, so what else? I think that's basically. Okay, so when it comes to healthcare, right? When you arrive Canada, you are supposed to register your kids for the healthcare. So because I live in Alberta, you have to go to the Alberta healthcare, register your kids. When you go to register your kids, they ask for certain documents like your COPR, that's your COPR, right? Your COPR or your identity or something, that identifies you and the kids. You go there, you register. I think there's an amount you pay. I don't know if you pay. No. Okay, it was driving license. Okay, it was the license you paid for. So you pay. You register the kids. There's no payment. You register the kids for the healthcare, Alberta healthcare. After registering it, they will now give you a number. If they don't give you the number, they'll send it to you as a mail, right? And then they'll also send you the Alberta health card 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks after your registration, they'll send you the Alberta health card for everybody. Okay, so when you get the Alberta health card, it's important that you maybe go and laminate it or something, because it comes like a paper, like in a paper form. So it's important to go and laminate it, so that just for durability and all that. And then you can also snap it and put it in your phone, so that just in case you're not with it and there's an emergency or a situation, or you just need to see a healthcare provider or somebody, that you need your health card number, snap the one for your children. Always have it like the soft copy, so that you can always use it handy. All they need, they don't even need to see the physical card, they just need to see the number. Once you call out the number, they type it in, they will see your profile, see the child's profile, and see everybody's profile. I mean, everything works here. Okay, so gist how their hospital works here. Okay, so one day, a few weeks back, when we just arrived, then we had not even gotten our Alberta health card number or even the card itself. My first son, 8 years old, my second child, my first son, woke up and came to my room, and he greeted my husband and I was like, why are you sounding like that? Put on the light, and I saw that his mouth was swollen. I'm like, Oga, what happened to your mouth? And then he said he doesn't know, that he just feels heavy on his mouth. And when I took a look at it, his mouth was very, very swollen, like very, very swollen. Hey, we panicked, right? Because first of all, we didn't have our health card number, we didn't have our health card, we don't have a family doctor, what were we going to do? So we looked at the situation, and then we didn't even know what, and it was just a clueless situation for us. So what we did, we now called I took a very good look at the mouth. I told my husband to look at it. In fact, before then, what even happened was that the day before, right, we went to some of all these places, because there are some places that they'll say, you need to get cheap stuffs, maybe thrift items and all that. So there are a list of stores that we just said, okay, let's just go, since we're just shopping for the house, and let's just see if we can see anything there. So we had already gone to this shop before, called Valley Village. It was close to the first Airbnb where we stayed. We went there, we didn't really see stuff that we wanted, right? But there were lots of toys there, right? Really, really lots of toys. And the toys were very affordable. So my kids were now like, let's go to that Valley Village again. So we went there with my hubby and all of us. And then we picked a few toys. So after picking the toys, in fact, my husband was just complaining that immediately we get home, nobody should cuddle any teddy, nobody should do anything. We should just go and put it into the washing machine and spin it. I told him not to be, overly and all that. And then when we got home, I popped all the teddies in the washing machine to wash, to disinfect and all that. But we bought stuff like car and some other things. Will I now wash them in the washing machine and all that? So I just kept them in the basket. Before I knew it, my children were already playing with it. In the morning, my son got up with a big swollen mouth. My husband said, Okpeo, no. This one is that Valley Village we went to, because we have been hearing gist about bed bugs and some kind of infections flying up and down. So he said that no, we should go and I just tried to calm him down, only for me to look into the mouth and find out that it wasn't even anything. It was the tooth that was infected. He had an infected tooth. We started tracing. We were thinking the night before we went to one place to eat, is it that they put a sauce that are these children now becoming, as in our minds raced everywhere. We didn't know where to point out where the infection came from. When we looked at it properly, I now remembered I told him some days back that anytime I'm brushing him, he always complains that there's a pain in a particular tooth. I think that's the tooth that is infected. I think the tooth was open. So now I said, okay, let's call a dentist and see. Because here, healthcare, your Alberta health card does not cover dental, especially when you are not working here in Canada. Like, you don't have, and some offices when you get a job and all that, they cover dental, but your normal Alberta health card does not cover dental. So we didn't even know what to do. So we called a particular dental hospital. We're thinking that it was going to be a government hospital. Shocker. They gave us an appointment for the next day. We went there. They received us and all that. Looked at him and told us that to X-ray is about how many hundred card. They call that Canadian dollars. They call the money. This one. we're like, oh, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's still see. They said to see the dentist, we still have to pay a particular fee. So my husband paid for that fee, and then we saw the dentist, so that dentist will decide if we need to do an X-ray or we need to extract the tooth or what the next step will be. So when she looked at it, she said, this is an infection that she will refer us to the hospital so that we can go and get IV antibiotics. But she also wrote out prescription antibiotics. So when we finish with the IV, we will now take the oral. See us thinking that we'll just quickly drive to the hospital because we had what they call it, prescription. First of all, the hospital was far. So now the difference in Canada is that there are clinics and there are hospitals. So in the whole of Alberta, I think there are just like 2 hospitals, and then the remaining are clinics. I don't know if there are more than 2, but I think there's only 2 I've been seeing rather. If I check the map, I usually see just 2. So there are 2, like I know there'll be more maybe, but maybe because they're not around me, so I can't really see them on Google, and Google will show me the closest to me. They now said we should go to the Alberta Children's Hospital and give them this paper, and then they will give him and this thing. When we now checked, there's something called a waiting time. Waiting time means that when you get there, you are going to wait for so amount of, this is the amount of hours you're going to wait before you see a doctor. Instead, seeing some said 6 hours, 7 hours, and all that. I was like, which one is waiting time again? We went to the one that said it has 3 hours waiting time. After driving there, got there, he presented the paper that they gave us. They asked us to sit down and follow the line. We followed the line. Long story short, it took us almost 10 hours before we were able to see a doctor, because the line kept on moving, and the thing what they consider there is the sicker the child, the faster they receive treatment. And behold, my son was not even feeling pain. He wasn't even in pain. The teeth was just swollen, the mouth was just swollen. He was running up and down, painting, coloring, and all that. I mean, when you see an active child like that, you know that that's not the one you're supposed to even be concentrating on. So it took them almost 10 hours before my son. In fact, that day they came home at 12 midnight. This was people that left. We left to the hospital by 12 noon, and they got back home by 12 midnight. It took them almost 12 hours, because after they saw the doctor and saw what he was supposed to do, that's when they now started administering the antibiotics. So he had to wait for the antibiotics to finish. The only trick is that the next day he got an appointment, and then they told them that if you have an appointment, you don't have to wait all the while, because you just come at the time of your appointment. So the next day his appointment was for 9:15, and the nurse advised that you come earlier than 9:15, so that like 15 minutes earlier, so you can do your vitals, take your weight and all that, and so that your time doesn't start ticking, because if you don't get that slot, you might have to wait another 1 hour. And once they start saying wait, my dear, please just go early. That was that for my son before he was able to finish. So the next day when he went, it was so fast. It wasn't like the wait of the previous day. Fast forward to yesterday, my toddler was ill, and then very ill. We took him to the clinic close to us, and then the doctor just saw him and said that he's okay. In fact, the thing is that when we got to the hospital, his temperature had already crashed, so he was already playing. The doctor now said we should go home. When we came home, this boy started acting drama. Throughout the night we didn't sleep. In the daytime, that's in the morning yesterday, that's how this boy's temperature started rising right until he started convulsing. As in, when he started we lost it. Everybody was just running helter-skelter in the house. Like, my husband started calling 911. Me, I even heard just that if you call 911, it's like $1,000 first of all. Me, I was now saying, if 911 people are not fast, please just off it. Let's drive the child to the hospital ourselves. That's how we now dropped. The thing is that the devil just had a way of doing his things yesterday, because when my husband was even calling 911, guess what? It wasn't even his Canadian number that was calling 911. The thing now went to call with his Nigerian line. So they were finding it difficult to place where the call was coming from. They kept on asking, what is your address? Where is your address? Where is your address? He now said, I'm calling from the house. I'm calling from the address. They're supposed to be seeing me. But you know MTN now, they had already picked up one. They were roaming with another network. So it was just showing a different direction. I just told my husband to put off the call and let us find a way to take the boy to the hospital. So after resuscitating him, like, breaking the fever and all that, all of us were just, all over the place. We were just scared and all that. We now drove to the hospital. As we were driving to the hospital, we saw the doctor that saw us the day before walking nonchalantly out of the hospital. It was just as if I should just go and drag the man. I told you yesterday that this boy was very sick. He didn't give us anything for him. He said we'll just go and manage it. And see, this boy is convulsing. Before he now followed us inside, and then he now said we should calm down. The one that just baffled me the most was that when he was interviewing us, as in asking us about what happened and all that, and we're now telling him how the baby, he was now asking us, the baby's eye roll up. We said yes. He now said, how long did it last? We said like 5 minutes. He was now like, okay, do we have a video? Come on, that's where my husband almost lost. Like, are you freaking kidding me that my son is having that kind of high fever and all I'll be thinking of is how to capture the moment on camera? Like, we now said, no, we're not in that frame of mind to be able to do that. I mean, we all panicked. He now told us that first of all, let him give us a paper that we're going to read to tell us that seizures are not bad for children. So when your children are having seizures, or your child is having a seizure due to the fever, that is not bad. If you see the way this guy made the convulsion look so he just debunked everything. He said that a convulsion is not, that they see it all the time, that it's okay for children to convulse, okay for children to have seizures, that it's just that when it's repeated and repeated and repeated, maybe that's when they have a problem, but it's just the body's way of reacting to the fever. And man, in Nigeria that will be running helter-skelter once your child is hot so that it doesn't convulse and all that. He now said that there's nothing we can do, that is a viral infection, that the infection has to pass have its course, as in like it has to run its course and all that, but he's going to write a referral for us to go to the main hospital, that same waiting hospital. Hey God. He now said he's going to write. We said okay. So he wrote his observation, wrote the seizures and all that, and then we took the child to the other hospital, carrying the paper, giving the nurse. As we were even giving the nurse, first of all, it was just even as if she should carry us and the paper and squeeze and put inside the dustbin. I mean, which kind of nonsense paper? Please join the line. Oh, that's how we joined line. Did vitals, they checked him, checked everything, checked his temperature. His temperature was 39.9. And guess what? She didn't want to give him anything. Like, she just said that okay, that since he's throwing up, she's going to give him something for him to stop the vomiting, and then she's going to administer Tylenol. As in, like, she was just so slow. In my mind, I was like, God, if it's Nigeria now, shebi now that I've been screaming out this hospital because my son is not feeling fine. But I mean, this lady was just so, God, I wasn't comfortable. And I had to ask, and I said, please, can you give him a suppository? That suppository is the one that they put in the anus. It's this paracetamol that they put like through the anus. She now said, okay, if you insist, I will do that. And before she now dragged Bodil and went, gave him, put something in his mouth to stop the vomiting. There's this tablet they give them. Just put it dissolves, so you don't even have to swallow it. You just put it, just dissolves in their mouth and then helps to stop the vomiting. Then she gave, has he been taking anything? We said nothing has been. Said, okay, I'm going to give you apple juice and I'm going to give you this syringe. So all he has to take is 10 mils every 5 minutes. I'm like, this boy that used to down how many God, how many containers of juice. Anyway, give us Sha. Let Sha give him. Do you know that's how we stay our own weight? We waited from 12 noon till almost 9 p.m. before we were able to see, before it got to our turn. Because people stay, when we even complained, at a point I wasn't comfortable. And I said, my baby's temperature is rising again and I'm not comfortable. Guess what she said? She now said that I should go back and join the line so that they can reassess him. I should go back and join line of people that just came. I just went and sat down, tried to tepid sponge my baby. That's used cold water, warm water and towel to reduce the temperature and all that. Last, so they now called us in. When we got in, hey God, after all the wait, same thing. The first doctor. Omo, sorry, I got interrupted. That's how we now entered, and this woman now told us that first of all, she wants to tell us that seizures, she don't start the whole seizure is okay, seizure is this. I mean, it's not easy for you to see your child convulse, and then you're trying to make it, look normal and all that. We just said, okay. She now gave us a paper telling us, explaining what fevers are, how fever works, how seizures work, why we should not be scared anytime our child has a seizure. And even if we go home and he has a seizure again, we should not there's no need to bring him back. We just try and manage him at home, and then if the fever doesn't stop in the next 5 days, then we should bring him back. And I said, okay, thank you. Guess what? They didn't give us any medication. She now gave us a prescription and told us that if the fever doesn't stop in the next 2 days, then we should go ahead and get the prescription. But if the fever stops, then there's no need. So she wrote the prescription for 2 days after. So we can't even go and get it now. Guess what the prescription was? Amoxicillin, the one we used to buy over the counter in Nigeria. That's what she wrote. That's what we waited from 12 noon till 9 p.m. for. As in, and we're not even getting it now, like we're getting in 2 days time. Hey God. Father Lord, this I now carried my baby. My husband now came home, and we're still trying to manage him anyway, but he feels better. We're just trying to at least he's eating now and some other things. He's not throwing up again and all that. Okay, so that was based on that's all the gist about healthcare. So healthcare here doesn't work like the way it works in Nigeria. So my advice, if you're coming with your kids, if your children have any kind of prescription meds and all that, come with them first. Buy and come. Meet your doctor at home in Nigeria to give you prescriptions and tell you how to administer it, like, so that at least you can have it first before you come into this environment and then be able to adjust to how their own healthcare works. You get, like I always say, as you're coming, come with malaria medicine first, so that at least you can treat your children if you find out that maybe they have malaria along the line and all that. That's it. What else again about healthcare? I think that's it. The only thing I think we need to do most times is, or what they want you to do, is that at every point in time have a booking. It's a booking, I'll call it now. Call them to book ahead. Have a booking and then have a family doctor. So we are looking forward to having our family doctor. We're already checking out some profiles so that we can have a family physician. If we have any issues, we go to our family doctor first before maybe he can refer us if at all we need to and all that. So that's it on healthcare. If you have any questions, well, you can ask me. Then when it comes to housing, maybe I should talk of housing. This video is getting very long anyway, so I'll talk of some other things in some other videos. I don't want my videos to be too lengthy so that you don't get bored with the gist. When it comes to housing, okay, so there are different kinds of housing here in Canada and here in Calgary most especially. So we have the townhouses. The townhouses are like normal duplex, we call them duplex in Nigeria. Normal duplex, you alone, with a basement. So the duplex is like you have a basement. Some of the basements are walk-in basements, some of them are not walk-in basements. Then you have the main house. You get, so that's what I'm calling a duplex. Some of them are 2-story, as you have a basement, you have the ground floor, then you have another one on top. So those are townhouses. So when you have a townhouse, you are going to pay for the house, you are going to pay for the waste, you are going to pay for the utility, that's the electricity, the water, and every other. You're going to pay for the lawn, that's to mow the lawn or you do it yourself. And what else again? You have the parking space. You have your own parking space allocated to you. Then you also have the condos. So the condos are like, some of them are like hotels, like the way you have hotel, like how many story it can be, 10-story building, 20-story buildings and all that. They have a lift and all that. So in condos there are shared, there are things you share, like waste. Now you are not the one in charge of waste, right? You are not the one directly in charge. So there's a management board, there's someone managing all that. You get. So me now, right now, I stay in a condo. I'll give you reasons why I stayed in a condo when I came. I could have gotten a townhouse, but I decided to stay in a condo. So the reason why I stayed, or my family is staying in a condo right now, is that one, a condo is much smaller. The condo we have, rather, some condos are big, but this one is much smaller. Reason why I chose a smaller one is that when you come to Canada, you don't have house help. It is DIY. You do every freaking thing yourself. And I'm coming with kids, and man, the last thing I want to add to the list of chores I have is a big apartment. You get. So first of all, I chose a small condo. So it's a 2-bedroom condo, 1 toilet, 1 bathroom, a laundry area, a sitting room, and a kitchen with a corridor. Okay, so the reason why, like I told you, is because it's a small apartment. I'll be able to manage it more. All of us, like, I'll be able to see everybody. So some people may be asking, okay, how are your kids managing, since you have 4 kids and all that? Maybe I can put a video of how I arranged the whole thing. So I got a double decker for my kids. So my daughter sleeps up, my 2 boys, that's the 6-year-old and the 8-year-old, they share 1 bed down, and then my toddler has his own toddler bed by the side. Then we have our wardrobe. In fact, it's very organized, so everybody's in everybody's business, and that's what I want right now, so that we can know ourselves more and we can help to clean up after ourselves, like no messes. You get. So that's it. Then my husband and I stay in 1 room. Sometimes our toddler stays with us, so we just find a way to manage ourselves. Cleaning is easy because the house is not so big, you get, so we can easily clean. So we have decided to stay here pending when we are able to buy our own house. So right now, what we're doing is we're building our credit score so that we can be eligible to get our own house, possibly next year. Okay, so like I said, condos, you share certain things, like the waste. Now I'm not the one dealing with the waste. All I do is I just go downstairs and throw my things and come back upstairs. There's a waste management, somebody comes to pick it up, and the condo management board are the ones that handle that. You get. When it comes to heating, Canada is very cold, although now it's really, really hot, like we're in the peak of summer. So the weather out there is like 30 degrees sometimes, and it's really, really hot. Like, people are putting on their ACs at the moment, right? But when it gets cold, heating is shared. Like, the people downstairs, their heating is on. You are not just alone. It's not only you that thing is blowing somehow. Let me put it like that. The wind is blowing. Let me put it like that. So another thing again is, I think the utility bills are cheaper in the condo. Yeah, because my utility bill just came in and it was ridiculously affordable compared to what my friends in townhouses are paying. Another reason why we chose the condo was that this is our first year in Canada, and we wanted to experience our first winter mildly, like gently. We don't want it to hit us like, So people that live in townhouses, when it comes to winter, you have to pack your snow out of your domots, if you know what I mean. So you have to pack snow and clear your front. You'll be responsible for all that. But since I'm in a condo right now, the people that's in charge of the building, they are the ones that are going to handle all that. So the only thing that we have to do is that we have to pay for underground parking, so that at least when you're driving out your car, you will not have to pack snow out of your car first before driving out. So I think we have to start booking for the underground parking right now before it gets filled up. So these are little reasons. And then I feel like community life too, because I live in this condo, in this my building alone, there are like 72 apartments, and there are like four of these buildings surrounding us. So you can imagine it's a community on its own. So I just feel like you're not just alone. Like, I need to understand the system, and being here, I mean, different races of people. It's not just black people. There are Asians, there are, Caucasians and all that. So it just helps you. That's how I feel. It just helps us to settle in gently. So by next year, possibly, if we move to a townhouse, we'll be able to understand better how the system works, because we have lived under an umbrella before that has showed us the way. So that's our reason. Okay, so I got interrupted. My baby, he was crying, so I need to pick him up. Okay, so like I was saying about the condo and all that, I hope you now understand why we decided to stay in a condo first before moving to a townhouse. So what next again? What I was going to talk about again? How we got a car. Okay, so cars. When it comes to cars here are okay. Like, most of the cars that are used here are gently used. They are not like ruggedly used, because I mean, their roads are good, the network is good, people here are careful, and then they have a history, a mechanic history of how the car has been. That's from the beginning of using the car, when you bought the car the first time, and up till the present time, where as in where the car is at the moment. So you have like a history of everything, how the oil change, whatever, if the car is accidented, if it was flooded, whatever, you have all the history. So when you got to buying a car, we checked up a particular dealer. I think, when did my husband find that guy self? I think someone referred him also, or he got, I don't know how he got it, brother. I think I'll ask him. Okay, but he got the dealer, and then we went to see. We had a few other options that we wanted. So when choosing a car here, you don't just buy any car. There is it's a kind of car that is needed for a family size, for any family size, right? So because my family is big, right, we needed a 7-seater car. We can't have less than a 7-seater car, so we had to look for that, because every child has to sit on a seat belt, on a car seat from 8 years and below. So everybody has to sit on booster seat. Those that need booster seat, you have to get booster seat for them. The ones that need car seat, you use a car seat for them, and a seat belt. So we had to get a 7-seater car, and it was pretty easy. When we got there, we spoke to the guy. He told us, gave us the discount he could offer, and then we looked at it. It was something we could afford, so we got it. We had to pay cash, because, like, when I say cash, I don't mean like cash. I mean like we had to pay everything, because we didn't have credit score, and so we didn't have that option. So we had to buy. If not, we had to wait till when we have credit score and be able to apply for credit, so that we can buy it on credit and be paying small. But since we had already planned that way, we needed a car, and it's actually necessary, especially in Calgary, and especially where we stay. You get. So we were able to get the car. We got it registered in 24 hours. Everything was ready, like plate number, everything was ready. And then when it comes to driving license, you can come with your Nigerian driving license. You can use it as far as it's original. You can use it for 3 months, that's 90 days, before you apply for the Alberta driving license. Yeah. And then if you have an international driving license, you can use that for 1 year. So when you're coming, either you get a Nigerian driving license. If you don't have, go and get, and make sure you get the original one, or that's the genuine one, because there are people that are doing a lot of, cutting corners. Don't cut corners. Make sure that you get the right one. And then if you have the international driving license, 1 year, you can use it for 1 year before you get the Alberta driving license. I hope that answers your questions. Then what else? I think that's it basically. And then choice of location, where to stay, right? So we chose to stay where we are because, one, there are quite a number of Nigerians here. I know some people will be like, I don't want to go to where Nigerians are and all that, but well, there are quite a number of Nigerians where we stay, and it's a pretty cool area. Moreover, the house too didn't come with a whole lot of demands. You know, some houses will be like you need to pay 6 months down payment, 3 months down payment, because you don't have a credit history and there's no one to maybe sign as a guarantor for you and all that. But this house didn't come with all that buhaha. Like they just told us to pay, we are paying on a monthly basis. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why we stayed here. Another thing to notice, the area you stay is where your kids are going to go to school. So you need to know who the people in the area, you know, are, because I mean they are the ones their children are going to be interacting with. So those are little things you need to consider. So if you're considering getting a house in Canada, make sure that the person that is helping you get the house shares similar values with you, so that he can help you or she can help you get a house in an area where, you know, the people around are people you want your children to interact with. You get? So those are just that's the gist for now. So in my next video, I'll be gisting you guys about my business. I'll be gisting you how I registered it and how it's going. But meanwhile, drop your comments, or please don't forget to subscribe. I mean, I know this video was so long this time around, but don't forget to subscribe. And